Today on The Bill Kelly Show on 900 CHML.
The Halton Catholic Children's Foundation has announced a new 3-year strategic plan. Now, these are one of our community partners that we help support with our CHML Children's Fund through your donations, of course, year in and year out. And every time one of our partners, of course, wants some assistance to try to do the great work they do in the community, we love to be able to talk to them about this and talk about the plan and create some awareness about that. And to that end, we're pleased to welcome to the program Mark Clare. Mark is the Executive Director for the Halton Catholic Children's Foundation. Mark, thank you so much for the time. Glad you could join us today.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
Let's talk a little bit about the new plan, the new direction. It's a variation on what you've been doing, on the great work that you've been doing for many, many years right now. But this is, I guess, one of the most frustrating things, Mark, for you and I guess every organization like yours is not being able to help somebody who comes in and needs your assistance. You wish if you had more, you could do more. That's really the mantra, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, currently we're helping about 300 students per year, but we know from research that there's about 10.5% of households in Halton are living in low-income situations. So that suggests that there's about 3,800 students within the Halton Catholic District School Board that are living in a low-income household. So we're currently helping 300. We're thinking there's about 3,800. So there's a gap and there's a need. And, we think that we can do more for sure.
There's going to be, and I want to address this because I know that people think Halton, okay, that's Oakville, that's Burlington, that's a lot of money there. Poverty can't be an issue there. Poverty is an issue in Halton.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's conversations I've had with people, often that's a surprising fact. And, as I mentioned before, 10.5% of children living in low-income households, which, that's a lot of kids. And, there's certainly pockets of need. And often we encounter families who are going through a crisis as well. So, maybe they're going through a health crisis of some sort that affects their income. Maybe they're going through job loss, which is the case often over the past year. Maybe they're going through a domestic violence situation, and that changes the dynamics in their household and their situation. And so, schools will identify those students and families in need, and then they can apply to the Children's Foundation for assistance with basic necessities.
When there is that disparity, though, as you guys know, of course, from all your work that you've been doing, Mark, there's a gap. There's the haves and the have-nots, and I think you refer to this as an achievement gap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, research shows that there is an achievement gap between students from low-income households and their peers, and unfortunately, that gap tends to grow the further along they get through their school experience. And so, we're trying to help students to succeed in school. And, we know that poverty remains a powerful factor in whether students succeed in school. And, every kid deserves the opportunity. And we know that when kids are given the opportunity, they want to succeed. And so, we're trying to help those kids overcome that achievement gap and overcome those barriers to learning.
We've talked about mental health issues an awful lot, and I'm glad that, we're finally starting to shine the light on that. And there are mental health ramifications when that gap is there, isn't there? I mean, the stigma that's attached to this sort of thing, it can be very, very difficult for kids to overcome.
Yeah. Things like, social exclusion, shame, anger, stigma. A lot of kids going through low self-esteem, low confidence, and losing hope. And so these are all issues related to student poverty. And so again, we're trying to help students to overcome these challenges and these issues. And, if we can help them with some basic necessities, help them to be part of their school community by supporting them with, when there are teams around or school trips, then, we're helping kids with those experiences again so they can feel included as part of the school experience.
These are problems, of course, that have been going on for quite some time. The last year, of course, the pandemic has made everybody in a more precarious situation, of course, and these challenged children are certainly no exception to that. So you've developed a new strategic plan. Mark, talk to us about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, we know there's more that we can do, and we need to have a clear direction, a clear plan in order to accomplish that. And so we are, over the next 3 years, we're looking to double the number of students we help each year, and to do that, we have some goals. And so one of the goals is to increase our revenue by 56%. Second goal is to create more awareness in the community. And then a third goal is really to improve our board governance and operational processes.
It's difficult at the best of times, obviously, because, as you say, it's great to set goals like this, but it takes money to do these sorts of things. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. And I know that a lot of people are stretched right now. They're stressed out because of their own particular situation. But I guess the takeaway here, Mark, is that every dollar that you get is dollars well spent, because it's going right to these kids. It's going right to the needs that they're dealing with these days, and it's assisting to them. It's assistance to the family. There's a real payback for the money that's going to be given to a program like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, again, we're looking to help students succeed in school, and school, success in school leads to positive life outcomes, and so we want to ensure that kids have the opportunity. Again, like I said, if kids are given the opportunity, they want to succeed. And so, we're trying to do that. We do have a number of initiatives coming up over the next little while, and we're asking for the community support in order to do that.
How do families reach out to you? I mean, if somebody's listening to this right now and saying, I could use a hand up right now, what's the process?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so really, we as I mentioned before, we partner with the school board, the Halton Catholic District School Board, and the teachers and the principals and the social workers and the child and youth counselors. They all do a fantastic job of identifying students and families in need. And so once they've identified a student or family in need, they can approach the Children's Foundation for financial assistance. And so we're providing them with food and clothing, eyeglasses, those real basic necessities. Learning technology has been a frequent request over the past little while, and so for any school board staff that are listening, you can go to our website, and there's an application process on our website for them to do. It's really easy. Try to get a really quick turnaround and response to the school so that we can support these students as soon as we can.
As you were going down that list of some of the things that you're doing, Mark, I mean, those are things that a lot of us just take for granted. Eyeglasses, materials for learning, even something like a school trip that some people may not think is significant, but I mean, that's all part of the education process. And again, that stigma that you talked about a few minutes ago, if one child says, well, I can't go because my family can't afford the $5 or $10 or whatever it might be, for something like that. I mean, to have an agency such as yours that can step in and say, wait a second, we can do something about this, that goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And kids are, if there's an opportunity to participate in a learning experience, trip, theme, that kind of thing, kids make all sorts of, excuses not to participate in those types of things. Or, if they're asked about, why don't you have a lunch today? Oh, I forgot, or I'm not hungry. And so there's all sorts of reasons that students will give. And so, again, those are barriers. And parents are often forced to choose between food and rent and personal hygiene items and at this time internet for school, which is so very important. And so those are barriers to success, and so we're trying to help students to overcome those barriers.
Well, we're so proud of the great work that you guys do, and we're hopeful that and this ambitious plan that you guys have set out is going to be fruitful for everybody involved. Anybody wants to get more information about this or wants to make a donation, more importantly, they just go to your webpage, I would think. Yeah,
that's perfect. hccf.ca. H is in Halton, C is in Catholic, C is in Children, F is in Foundation.ca.
I hope it works for you. Please keep in touch and stay in touch with us and continue the great work that you and your organization are doing, Mark. Thanks for this today.
Well, thank you very much, Bill, and we certainly appreciate all the support that we've received over the last few years as well.
Well, hopefully we're going to keep that going with more community support as well. Mark, again, thank you so much for this. Mark Clare, the Executive Director for the HCCF, and we'll certainly stay in touch and hear more about some of the success stories from this great organization.
The Bill Kelly Show, weekdays from 9 to noon on 900 CHML.